Hello, Germana Grizzlies. This is Dr. Carl Robinson, C-Rob to my friends, and this is my introduction to summer 2026 EDE 11. I'm shooting this from my parents' backyard in Madison County. That's Route 15 behind me, and the Rapidan River is through the trees. And I've got my foot up on my dad's 2007 pickup truck. But just a brief introduction to our class. As you know by now, it's asynchronous, which means you watch my videos, look at my outline, write the papers, I grade them. I have taught asynchronous before in Texas during COVID. I much prefer teaching a class live. I think you get a better sense of C-Rob, who I am, what I'm like. I think actually like having a teacher there, me teaching the lesson helps too. But anyway, this one's asynchronous. I teach an English 111 on Monday afternoons, 2 to 3:55. So you're welcome to come to that. I might ask them to occasionally maybe videotape me for 5 or 10 minutes lecturing, and I'll put it on YouTube so you can see. But I wanted to briefly go over our syllabus. I'm trying to keep it in line with my other class, so it officially starts the week of June 1st. So on your printable course schedule, you should review the syllabus that day. Ask me any questions you have. My phone number's on the syllabus. I probably FaceTime is the same thing as Zoom, so I probably prefer FaceTime, but you can talk to me then if you have any specific questions. The Introduce Yourself discussion board is due June the 6th. For some reason, my students in Texas and here like the work to be due Saturday night. So most of your work is due Saturday night at midnight. Basically, what we'll do is each assignment sequence, I have 4 videos on YouTube. I think you'll like the readings. I'll get to those in a second. But you would watch my 4 videos, read my outline, and then get a sense of what the questions are like. There's even videos that talk about the questions. So anyway, working on your own, you would read, the first reading is Richard Rodriguez's Achievement of Desire. The first Saturday night, you would look at my 2 videos, read the reading, and then the first Saturday night, there's a 1,500-word rough draft due, and then I'll make comments. Then you would watch the other 2 videos on Rodriguez or the other writers. It's a real live bug. On the other 2 writers, and then the second Saturday night, June the 20th, would be a 2,500-word essay on Richard Rodriguez. I'm doing the syllabus right now and the schedule, so I'll talk about the readings in a second. So then week of June 22nd, you would start Edward Said's States. The first Saturday night, we start reading. There's a 1,500-word rough draft, just like you had in high school, I would say. And then the second week, we're on Edward Said. You write a 2,500-word essay. Then after that, we have a week off for July 4th holiday. So there's no Germana classes that week. We come back. There's actually an essay due. And then July the 15th, there's a midterm that you would obviously take online. It will be from the question bank we already have. So it won't be anything new. I'll probably give you the questions on a Monday, and you'll have until Wednesday to turn them in, Wednesday night at midnight. Then we read Walker Percy's Loss of the Creature. The first Saturday night, you write a 1,500-word rough draft. Watch the videos, look at my outline. Then the second Saturday night, you write the 2,500-word paper for Walker Percy. The last week of class, you review for the final test on your own. I will assign it probably in the middle of the week, and then the final test would be due on August the 8th. A little bit about me. I grew up in Madison County. That's where I am now. I went to Woodbury Forest. This is the hottest day of the year, a lot of bugs. I went to Woodbury Forest boarding school. Then I went to Randolph-Macon College in Ashland, loved it. A lot of friends, a lot of parties. It was a good time. Then I went to Virginia Tech for my master's. I got a master's in English literature. Went camping a lot, hiking, made a lot of friends at Virginia Tech. Then I went to Kent State for my PhD. I was kind of a hippie, did stand-up comedy a few times. I liked Kent State. Caught my sunglasses. I liked Kent State. My PhD dissertation was on the language of boxing and wrestling. Like, what kind of fan likes professional wrestling and why? What kind of fan likes professional boxing and why? My first job out of college was in Iowa. It was called Ashford. I taught there 11 years. The school actually closed, so then I got a job at Odessa College in Texas, and that was kind of like Gunsmoke, good guys and bad guys. I'll tell you stories about Odessa. But then in 2022, my dad passed away, so I moved home to help my mom, and she's in the house right now. She broke her hip. She has dementia. It's pretty hard. A lady watches her while I teach, but you'll probably hear stories about my mom. Our 3 readings, which I think you'll like, they're kind of meaty and interesting. They're certainly not 2D and flat. They're 3D and interesting. Richard Rodriguez, Achievement of Desire. Rodriguez was Hispanic, grew up in California in the 70s and 80s. He was a poor kid. He wanted to be a professor. He writes about being ashamed of his parents, ashamed of his community, his neighborhood, and his whole life he was just sucking up to his teachers. He'd win an award. He didn't want his parents to come to his school because they spoke broken English. And then at the end of the essay, he's in a library in England. He's going to be a professor. He's got his PhD, but he's miserable. He doesn't have any friends. It seems like he hasn't had any fun in college. And he wants to be in his mom's kitchen. He misses his family. So somewhere in the mix, I think, make a plan, do your work, but you should also have fun and live your life. And I think, maybe COVID changed that. Before COVID, my students would write their essays like, live your life, have fun. After COVID, they're like, the world is hard, you better do your work. But hopefully it's a combination of the two. And you'll see that if you watch my videos on YouTube. The second reading is Edward Said's States. It's about the Middle East. I'm certainly not political. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I don't care. I really don't like that our world is set up like that. Ultimately, it's a lot of pages, but I tell my face-to-face students to focus on the pictures. More so, the readings inform the text. They help you with the pictures, but really it's about looking at the pictures. You'll see that in my video. And if you're from the United States, you compare United States normal to Palestinian normal. If you're from Ecuador, if you're from France, you would compare normal for your culture to Palestinian culture. And maybe a typical American thinks it's violent and poor. But again, I'm not going for politics. I'm going for like a cultural read with emphasis on the photos. And the most of the pictures are on the photos. And then our last reading is Walker Percy's Loss of the Creature. Walker Percy's an interesting cat. He's Southern. He had tuberculosis. He was going to be a psychiatrist. He was in a car wreck, and he woke up from being in a coma and decided he wanted to be a writer. And he gives example after example after example. There's 30 examples, but I think he also wants you to live life, have fun. The first part of his essay, like, can you ever, if you went to the Grand Canyon with your family this summer, is there any way you could have as good a time as the dude who discovered it? And then his last point is you're at the beach with your family, you find a seashell. It's really cool. You're an explorer. You show it to your friends. You show it to your mom. You like it. But then spring break is over and you go to school, biology lab, and the professor plops the same sea creature in front of you. It's part of the system. It's part of the man. You don't want any part of it. So if you find it on your own on vacation, it's cool. But if you have to do it in school, it isn't. But anyway, that's sort of my quick and dirty 10-minute introduction to EDE 11. And I'll be talking to you soon. Bye.